Chapter 3. Shrines. Anyone who has lived in Central Asia will find it hard to imagine the region without picturing a shrine. Shrines seem to be everywhere, sometimes built over important graves, but often only a lone tree holding ground on some isolated crag. The animistic soul of Central Asia cries out for a location to venerate, a place that will stand out as distinctly different from everything else, a place you can call holy. Over the years, dirt trails became packed and stone ledges turned into polished stairways under the countless footfalls of barren women, crippled children, or other needy pilgrims searching for the supernatural. Eventually, bricks are laid and beautiful blue domes are erected. Thus is a shrine built. However, it is not only the Muslim or the animist who desires a shrine. We Christians have shrines as well. Apart from the well-known official ones like the Via Dolorosa in Jerusalem and the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, there seems to be a plethora of unofficial places that Christians are drawn to venerate. Whether one travels to Bethlehem, Brownsville, or Toronto, it seems that all shrines are basically the same. They are simply places where people expect to find some kind of holy experience. Yet, as soon as such a place becomes popular, what began as a search for communion with the Holy One becomes an institution. We build a roof over it, set a schedule of services, then count and record the number of visitors. At best, shrines represent a convenient way to put God in a box. At worst, they become cheap magic. Just go to the right place, arrange for the right spiritual experience, and you will get your needs met. It's that simple. Shrines also have a tendency to quickly become larger than life. Perhaps something miraculous happened there long ago, perhaps not. Who knows now? After a while, that matters little, for the shrine has taken on a life of its own. The location becomes more important than the one who supposedly visited the common and made it uncommon, and usurps the honor due to the one who came near and made it holy. Still, people continue to build shrines. Muslims, animists, and Christians. Even pilgrims have been known to do so. But that is enough time spent here. We really should keep moving and find a place for the night. I fear a chill in the air. A shrine for whom? With hundreds in attendance, this was one of the largest gatherings of Central Asian Christians in recent memory. As one who had helped plan it, I glowed with fatherly pride. It was quite a show, but more than that, this was the Indigenous church on display, or so I would have said. The worship music was played by some of Central Asia's finest musicians, Christians, all of them. An ensemble of dancers in exquisite traditional costumes filled the platform, moving with choreographed precision. Just seeing their performance helped thaw January's cold. The spiritual fervor inside the hall made me feel close to the object of my journey. I am certain that most people in the hall were duly impressed with the performance. I know we missionaries were. The whole evening was a well-polished stairway for us. How many times had I personally climbed it in the past? Here we had used a proven formula to leave the common outside and create a warm, holy place inside. A glorious shrine, but built for whom? Unfortunately, somewhere in the crowd there was at least one man who wasn't riding a spiritual high like the rest of us were by the end of the evening. The sad thing is that man was a dear friend of mine. Saeed was perhaps the most respected church leader in the region. At that time, he had been a believer for about 5 years, which was longer than most of his compatriots. Furthermore, he was a tested man. From the beginning, from when he first turned to the light, he had been the leader of a church in his city. He had lived with troubles inside the church and seemingly unending pressures from outside. He was a quiet man of proven spiritual reserves. After driving 6 hours in mind-numbing weather, I doubt Saeed noticed the neat box we had built. Although they were only recent imports, Western church customs were quickly hardening like an oft-traveled pathway. As all good shrine builders before us, this evening represented our best efforts to manage and control the one who fills the universe. Cold and weary, Saeed quickly spotted something that warmed him through to the heart. Up near the front of the crowd was an old, time-weathered Muslim man. Dressed in a costume sewn before most in the room were born, he personified tradition. His long white beard spoke of wisdom, respect, and of their shared Islamic heritage. Sitting ramrod straight in a wooden chair, he embodied the heart of this people. Saeed hoped that the old man represented something even more that night, a prophecy of the harvest to come. Seated in all his proud tradition, the ancient visitor had come willing to listen, and tonight he would hear the gospel presented clearly from another Central Asian. He would see hundreds of former Muslims openly worship Isa as their savior, and hopefully he would be moved to join them before the night was over. What better time could there be for a man near the end of his life to accept Christ? Sadly, it did not happen. In retrospect, I can see why. The message was in the old man's language, but its style of logic and presentation was straight out of Dallas or Chicago. The words to the songs that evening were in his mother tongue, but they hardly sounded like his music. How could they, when they were mostly choruses translated from English? I doubt that much of the program made sense to the old man, whose wisdom came from living his whole life in Central Asia. Although I didn't realize it at the time, it became crystal clear to Saeed as the evening wore on. He realized that if he would ever really reach his own people, someone like that old man would need to find the gospel message much more attuned to his world, not vice versa. And what about the old man? I fear the evening only confirmed his worst fears. He had obviously come with an open mind, but I can almost hear him thinking halfway through the evening, "This message about Isa the Messiah is something foreign. Their worship is so strange, their ways so against everything our culture holds dear." Of course, that is conjecture. None of us actually knows what our old visitor thought that night. Before anyone could ask him, he quietly walked out of the shrine we had built to our church traditions and into a snowy Central Asian night. I cannot say for sure what he thought as he went home, but I do know this. Very little the old man saw that evening would have made him feel like he belonged. There was none of the drama from his own culture, no greeting of the aged and respected, no telling of jokes, no eating together, and not a single cup of tea was served. Granted, it is difficult to do these things in a meeting of 300 or 400 people, and perhaps that's why Central Asians only occasionally hold such gatherings. We could have at least acknowledged the elders in the room and found place for a joke or two in the program, but no, like most other shrine builders, we had built what was comfortable for us. In retrospect, I am afraid that we missionaries had unwittingly, yet perfectly, crafted a meeting to suit our own spiritual needs. Too little thought had gone into the spiritual needs of the hundreds of former Muslims and their kin whom we had invited to attend. What is worse, we had sent a clear message to the Central Asian believers in attendance that to be spiritual, they must copy our church traditions. All the evening's familiar spiritual trappings had only taken us further from the true object of our journey. The combined effect of the evening had certainly produced a holy and moving experience, a shrine, if you will. But whose heart was moved? Obviously not that of the old Muslim man who had slipped away early. An indigenous church, by definition, will be strange and unfamiliar to foreign missionaries. In fact, it is often the things that we pilgrims do not like or understand that make something truly indigenous. The well-worn ways of one culture can never speak into the heart of another. The Western culture has many convenient ways to produce just the right spiritual experiences for those from it, a multitude of neat boxes to keep God manageable. I don't think many of us had even considered that our magic, which never failed to charm us, might not have the same effect on our Central Asian friends.